Welcome to Living the Milf Experience. I'm your host, Baddie Bri. This is a space where we redefine MILF as a mindset, empowering women to own their identity, embrace their power, and live life unapologetically. Let's break stereotypes and spark conversations that inspire. Hi, loves. It's your host, Baddie Bri, and tonight we have our first guest on Living the Milf Experience podcast. And we're here to tell you that it's not a label, it's a mindset, and we're redefining it. So I want to welcome Natavia Cunningham. And I've actually known Tay for like 10 years, and I've just watched her like over the years, and she's an inspiration. So she was like the one that I wanted to have as my first guest for sure. So Natavia, go ahead and just introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
Hey everyone, my name is Natavia. Most people call me Tay. I am a single mother of a son with autism. I'm also an active duty service member, and I'm also an entrepreneur as well. And guess what else? I'm also a MILF. So
Yeah.
I am taken to it, and I am with Bree, and I am redefining what a MILF is.
Yep.
So
And we're
yes,
unapologetic about it.
absolutely.
Great. So we're glad to have you. Thank you for coming on. So tell us, what does MILF mean to you?
Being a MILF, honestly, I didn't think about it until you invited me to join, but being a MILF is just being a badass. It's being unapologetic. It is getting to know who you are inside and out, and just kind of being in love with yourself,
Exactly.
first and foremost.
Taking
And
back
then
that power, right?
yes, absolutely. And then also just being, same thing with being a badass is also taking care of your responsibilities and your priorities as a mother. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's how like I define it. And when you sent me just, the script, trying to get to know more about me personally, I was like, yeah, that absolutely is it.
Yeah, and it's really about also separating that like motherhood doesn't define your womanhood, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's real easy to get lost and lose your identity and really just be in that role of a caregiver, a mother, and especially for
Hmm.
you, you have, your son has special needs, so like I can't even imagine how much more that is. I have three kids, which is crazy. Three girls, and it's insane, and they're all sassy. So
Hmm.
like I can't like I would think that, having one with autism like would be like having three. So
Yeah.
huge kudos to you because like
Thank
I
you.
said, like I've always watched you like through social media because we don't live in the same area anymore. So I just watched you and I had so much admiration for you because you literally like you just don't stop. Like nothing holds you back. And I thought that was like amazing and I really, really love that. So just
Thank
watching her
you.
over the years, like I was like, she's a MILF for sure.
Thank you.
Great. So breaking down the outdated stereotype, right? So
Hmm.
like we all know the term MILF is a mom I'd like to be intimate with, right?
Hmm.
But we're redefining that, right? Like we're taking it back. It's more than just that because yeah, we're sexy, we're beautiful, we're powerful, we're desirable, but we're also so much more than that, right? Like I said,
Hmm.
like I see all your ambition and how resilient you are no matter what life throws at you. And yeah, we have our days, we have our moments where, it's rough. And we still just put on a smile, and people don't realize like what exactly, we're going through. So when we say
Hmm.
MILF, like of course your first like thought is like, oh, just, an older woman who's a mom that's hot and,
Hmm.
whatever. But it's not just about being a mom, right?
Hmm.
Like, my goal in this whole podcast is really just to bring that to everybody's attention. It's not just about that. Like,
Hmm.
it's more than just being a mom, you know?
Hmm.
So, how do you think the term MILF over the years has evolved?
So I actually, in you inviting me, I was actually out to lunch with a friend, and I asked them, Well, I said, like, she has this podcast and it's called MILF, and it's taking a word that we've had, um s- and like kind of switching it and changing the narrative. And he said, you know what? I would think like changing it is more or less like mom I'd like to follow. And I was like, I
That
love that.
that is
Yeah,
gold. I love
yeah,
that too.
yeah.
I
I
would
was like,
follow you anywhere.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, I love that because I mean, that's the way that I take it. It is, again, yes, I am a mom. Yes, I've fallen in life, but I've gotten back up. Yes, I have a little one trailing behind me, but like, at the same time, I put on my armor. I go out every day and I do what has to be done for
You're
my son.
unstoppable. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the way that it is. But at the same time, like you said, like it's also me tapping into my femininity and rediscovering who I am.
Yeah.
When I first had my son, I was 25 years old. Lord, I was 25 years old. Now I'm 32.
You're
My
so young.
journey, my journey in having a son, and two, I was a wife at the time. I am divorced now. So having a son and being a wife, my priorities have changed and shifted, and I've tapped into me. And like you said, it's okay to put on some makeup and go outside and step into some heels and let everyone know, like, this is me and this is who I
Yeah.
am. And just because I'm a mom,
Own
at the
it.
end of the day, that does not stop, again, my goals, my ambitions, and seeing the world and doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So,
That's why we're
yeah,
smashing those stereotypes,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Why do you think it's time to reclaim and redefine the term MILF?
Because, like you said, I think it is very much so an outdated term. When I think about it, I think of like honestly, like a Blink 180 video, like, like the mom
What
and
is
the,
that?
and
What
the,
is that? There's a song, right?
yes, I believe it's all the small things, but
Yeah.
like
I
it's
know
a
which song you're
mom
talking
and the,
about. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just the mom that's there, and then somebody's just like eyeing her and everything like that. But the way that I think about it, honestly, is like more or less like Beyonce run the world. Like it is very much so a woman just being tapped into who she is, and although she is a mother and she has to put food on the table and she has to do what she has to do for her kids, at the end of the day, she is still getting out there and she is still smashing her goals. She
Yes.
is still, at the business table with the men in her suit jacket. She is in
Finding
those
her proud,
stilettos.
her
Yes. Yes, absolutely. She's in those stilettos and she's letting people know that she means business. Like
yeah.
that's
But even with that, like we all go through things and challenges in life, right? Like I
hmm
said earlier, we go through things, but a lot of people don't really know because we're really good at slapping on a smile and just hiding
yes.
it and keeping it under wraps, and nobody really sees it because we have to hold it together. We have to be that strong mom, that figure, that one that always has it together, right? That's,
hmm
does it for our kids, and just we always seem so strong. But, there's still times of healing and growth and just rediscovering yourself and, finding that self-love again, which is so important. And
Absolutely.
I think that there's times where, like, it's almost like you don't think that you're gonna ever get there again. Like you lose yourself, like you just get lost, right? And then it's like you have to really go through these. Like me, I meditate, I journal. I've always been like real spiritual, that.
hmm
But like those are the things that keep me grounded. And then I know, like, after I had my third daughter, I kind of stopped doing all those things. And I don't even know why, but I stopped. And it made a huge impact on my life because those things kept me grounded. That was like my time. That was like my peace time. That was like,
God.
what I did for me, and then all of a sudden, like, like my husband deployed and I was just like, I had to do all the things. I had to be the mom,
Yeah.
the dad, everybody, like
Yes.
everything. And it was overwhelming. And, like, it's just like, how do you, like, I felt like I lost myself. Like, have you been in a position where you felt like that?
Yes, absolutely. I'm actually tearing up as we speak because that is it. What you, everything that you just said is real. I also, in the midst of having my son was about a year old, maybe about a year and a half, and my ex-husband and I, so his father and I, we separated during that time as well. My son was also diagnosed with autism. So in that moment, I didn't know what to think or what to do because not only did I feel like, and excuse my language, but not only did I feel like shit as a mother, and I put that blame on myself for his diagnosis in the beginning, but I also felt like shit because I feel like I failed as a wife. So I went through a whole period of like just trying to figure out why. Like, why is this happening to me? Does this mean that I am a shit mother? Does this mean that I'm a shit wife? Does this mean so? Like, it was all the negative voices that were piling onto me, and I just was really trying to find an answer. And then I looked to people that um I knew that were amazing mothers that had a divorce, but that didn't stop them, or had a divorce and they ended up getting remarried, or women that were just in tune with themselves and just really tried to tack onto that because I was like, whatever secret sauce you have, like I need to find it.
Yeah.
And in that time, like you said, I've also went on a spiritual journey. I went on a spiritual journey. I was also tapped into crystals and tarot readings and
Yeah.
things like that.
I didn't even know that. Like, we need to
Yes,
connect
ma'am.
on like outside of this because I'm
Yes,
all about that energy, you know that.
yes, ma'am. So I tapped into that. Then I also tapped back into Christianity and I tried to connect the two because there's a lot of things that are very similar if you like read between the lines
Sure.
in the two. So I also tapped back into Christianity, signed up for therapy, and I was like, you know what? Let me start from square one. And during that process, I was also diagnosed with anxiety and depression as well throughout the years.
Aren't we all?
And yes, ma'am. And that was
It's
one of
pretty
the things
common.
too.
It's nothing to be
Yes.
ashamed of, right? Like mental health is like it's so prominent and
And
like
it
it's so
is.
important. You said something that like really resonated with me, and that was like your thoughts. Like we don't realize like how powerful our mind is, and we literally have like the same reoccurring 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day unless you actually try to change it, right? So if your
Mhm.
self-talk is really negative and you're not doing anything about it, it's gonna you attract what you give out, right? Like
Yes,
whatever
absolutely.
you put out, you're gonna keep getting it back. So it's gonna just make you
Absolutely.
like worse and worse, right? So
Absolutely.
that's so important.
Yes. And then that was one of the things where, again, I went on my journey and I was like, you know what? Let me, again, start from square one. Let me figure out where my own traumas are and let me be better as a mother and let me be better as a woman. Let me be better as a person and figure out no longer am I, again, pushing the blame on somebody else. It's not everyone else's fault. Like it takes two to tango. I don't want to be a victim. I want to be a victor.
Yeah,
Everything that I've gone through, it's all divine timing, it's all God's timing.
absolutely.
And
Everything happens for a reason, right?
yes, and
Like,
I'm here for a reason. Yeah. And through that, same thing. Like I've just kind of redefined who I am and I've fallen in love with who I am and accepted who I am. Like it's not my fault. It is not my fault. And I'll say it again. It is not my fault that my son has autism. It's the way that things go.
there's a
Again, I
purpose
believe
for
that
it. Like, there's
exactly,
a purpose. We don't always know what that purpose is right away, but
exactly.
there's definitely a purpose, right? And then
Hmm.
sometimes we kind of find out what it is along the way, but
Yes,
we rediscover ourselves, we go through that personal growth, and just finding our identity and, just rediscovering and healing. All of those things all play a part in it, right?
yes.
Yeah, and it's you don't really know until you like go through those things, and then, it just kind of starts to hit you like this is part of my life, like, but there's a reason for it. Like it's not,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like you turn it into some like me with this podcast. Like I was like, okay, like I open up my Snapchat, like all these, obviously mostly guys, but they're like, "Oh, you're a MILF, you're a MILF." And at first, like I just turned
And that's
40.
the cra-
I'm
And that's the
like,
crazy part. Is
yeah.
like you never know, you don't realize because you're sucked into your own story. You don't know how many people that you're positively impacting. So same thing, right? Like even you said like you've watched me for years and I'm just like, man, like I've got to do better. And I'm focused. I'm so focused on what I'm going through and trying to accomplish in life for my little one. Over the years, I've had plenty of people say to me, like, you just never stop going. You're one of the strongest women that I know. I don't see how you do it as a single mom of a special needs child. And they're looking to me and they're using me as their source of inspiration. I'm like, well, shit, I'm just trying to make it out here. But I didn't know that my story could be used to like help other people. And through that, again, I've helped other people and I've connected with other moms of special needs childs
Yeah.
or children that thought that that their children's lives were over. And I'm like, no, baby, it's just beginning. Like, how dare you? Like, what?
You find your
So,
unique power. That's what happened.
yes, yes,
And
absolutely.
we all have it. We all
Yes.
have we just got to step into it. We just got to
Mm-hmm.
find it. And going through all that hardship and like all those things, like that's what makes you actually realize it. It's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So, which celebrities and public figures best embody the modern MILF energy to you and why?
Love this question because I was literally like, dang. But the one that I immediately I thought about Angelina Jolie. I thought about, and I think, again, what's really special about Angelina Jolie is,
They
she was
adopted a lot of
adopting
their
children.
kids.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
she
like,
adopted a lot of her children at first,
yeah.
right? So I thought that was something special because I didn't even connect that in the beginning, but like, the fact that she adopted a lot of her children, that should resonate with a lot of women because, I mean, hey, we're in a day and age where, hey, just because like you might have a situation or just because there might be a medical thing, your calling still may be to be a mother. Like, and you can still help so many people. So, Angelina Jolie, and then too, you've seen how when she became a mother, how vastly her life changed.
Yeah.
And it was like
Doesn't it
a
though?
different, yeah. And it
Your
was
life really
like,
changes. I
yeah.
wasn't
And it
ready
was
for it yet, I don't think. But at the same time,
same.
I always say that like my kids saved me. Like
Mm
if I would have continued on, like I would have still been, who knows what I would have been
hmm.
doing.
Mm hmm.
Like they really, it took me a little bit to adjust, but they really saved me. Like
Mm hmm.
I grew up. I started, like, okay, I got some little ones that are depending on me. Like I have to take care of them, like that's important.
Yes,
So, but yeah, it's a huge transition. Like it's
absolutely.
like at first you're
Yeah.
just so excited, you're like, oh, I had a kid, like, and it's all the milestones and all the things, and then like I don't know, I had a second one, and then it was like, okay, and then I had a third one. I'm like, man, like this is real. Like I have little people that I gotta like be an example for, and I gotta,
Yes.
show them the right things, and and they're girls, so like I want them to, have it better than I did. Like there's things that
Mm
I went through and that I saw that like my kids have no clue about,
hmm.
and
Yes.
like I'm glad to protect them from that because
Yes.
I wasn't, and that was a different time,
Mm hmm.
but I just can't, like I can't even imagine. And even for my parents, like my parents had me really young. They were 19, 20, and
Mm hmm.
like I had my first daughter when I was 32. Was I 32 or I was 33? Yeah.
I love that.
So
I love that.
like I'm really glad that I waited, and but I can't imagine having a kid at 19. Like you're still a kid,
Yeah.
you know? But like kudos to the ones that do it as well because it's rough. But like everything that I went through like shaped that. Like, cause I didn't want that for my kids.
Hmm.
Like I was like, hey, if I don't have any by 35, I'm just not gonna have any. Like, that's my cutoff point, you know. But then I
But
also felt like I was in a big I was like, okay, let's get this done.
But even still, right? So there's things that you just shared that's very important, right? Because even for someone like me, although I got divorced, I think, when did I get divorced? I got divorced when I was 27 years old. And even now, like I am dating and
Girl.
yes, I
Don't
am
even get me
dating.
started on the whole dating stuff. Like, I can't. I don't even.
I am I am dating and I am just like, and I would say too, even being a mom or being a MILF, it has taken um me through a whole nother thing. Like I'm so specific in what I look for because I know at the end of the day, I don't have time to waste. So, you said something like you had your first child at 32 or 33 years old. For me, I shared I'm 32 years old. I still want children. Like, again, I feel like it's not over. At first, I thought I only wanted one child, and I'm just like, I want as many as God, the universe, however many, like, just so happen to develop in my uterus. Like, that's what I want. In my ovaries, however, like, that's what I want because I know that, um, when I look at my child and I see the love that I pour into them and I see them develop, I'm like, wow, like I did that,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a
So,
blessing. It's a
yes,
it's a
ma'am.
miracle. It's amazing. Like,
Mm,
I see my oldest daughter and she's like hands down like she's me. Like everything like I look at her and everything she does, the way her mannerisms, like she talks, like she is just like me.
mm-hmm,
She like the way she laughs sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, she laughs exactly like I did when I was a kid. This
mm-hmm,
goofy laugh, and I'm like, that's so like it's so amazing and crazy, but I'm like,
mm,
yeah, you just watch them like develop and grow, and like
yep,
I wanted a boy so bad. Like, obviously, I tried 3 times, so it failed. Like for me, dating, honestly, excuse my French, but it's a shit show. Like, it is the
God,
most
yes, it
ridiculous
is.
thing out there. Like,
Yes,
like it's slim pickings, and I am really, really like
cheers
I
to
know
that.
exactly what I want, like you said. Like, I think after going
Yes,
through that, like, you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what you're looking for, and you're not gonna waste your time. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
yes,
Like, I was on Facebook dating, and for a minute, that was like really good. It was like new and refreshing. It was like not, the other dating sites and whatever. But like now, I'm just like, they can send you a message, and like, a lot of times, and I don't know, who knows, I might bring it up on one of my podcasts in the future, but like, the comments or like the things that they'll say to me, like it's so disheartening. Like it's like a hookup culture. It's just like
yes,
guys are so thirsty. Like I'm like, I
yes,
got substance. I got way more like,
yeah,
and if you don't have anything like that, you're not sitting at my table. Like I'm just
yes,
not even gonna waste my time.
yes.
Like I literally only go on the dating sites now, like if I'm bored.
So,
I'm bored
same
and I'm like,
thing. Same thing I tried, and I was like, you know what? I had heard good things about Bumble. So I had heard pretty crappy things about Plenty of Fish. So I was like, I'm staying off of there. But I tried Bumble. I tried, I think it's like bagels and something. And I tried,
I just
what
saw,
was the
hold on, I think I
other?
screenshotted this, but I just saw an ad for a new one, and it's like they set everything up for you. So like there's no more swiping, no more like messaging and like getting ghosted or anything. I gotta look real quick, but go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah. So, and then the other Hinge.
Yeah,
Tried that, and I
yeah, I
had
did.
saw Facebook. Yeah, and I tried Facebook dating, or no, I saw it. I didn't actually log in and try it, but I'm like, I tried it, and same thing. It was like no substance, and I put in the thing like exactly what I'm looking for. Like I am looking for, like I'm dating to marry. I want more children. Like I like books. I like people that could talk about the current state of politics. I like
Yeah,
people that could talk about education. Like, can we talk about those things? And it was just like,
serious.
yeah, so can we see each other? And, I like your body. And I'm like, well, yep, that's it.
So
That's cool.
shallow and like just
Yes.
ugh. It's
It was
it really is
interesting.
disheartening. It really is. I'm not like now I remember it was on Instagram. I saw an ad on Instagram and I saved it. But it's really like it's discouraging. Like you don't even want to
Yeah.
like bother anymore. It's like what's the
Hmm.
point?
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know? Like I don't know. It's yeah, that's a topic for another day cuz I like I'm just
Well, you can have me on for that one too, because listen, it is a hot
we'll talk about
mess.
all of our dating fails. Like I
Oh,
got some
yeah.
dating stories. It's like nightmares. I'm like, what? Like I don't
Yeah.
like I won't even go on a date now. Like it like you have to pass like a screening before I'll even
Yes.
consider dating.
Yes, coming outside. Like, oh my God. Yeah, it's terrible.
Man, where is it? I swear I saved it, but maybe not. I don't know. And I feel like I saved it just for like this, but I can't find it. But anyways, it was an ad on Instagram and it was like this new dating site and like their whole
Oh
pitch
God.
yeah, their whole pitch was like no more swiping or like endless texting and then like they set everything up for you and I'm like, hmm, oh wait.
Did you find it?
You know what? I have two Instagrams because I have the podcast Instagram and then I have my regular one and I was looking on my regular one, but I bet you it's in my podcast one. And the dating app without a chat function. That's like their whole spiel. It's called Breeze Social. So over 300,000 real life dates organized. If it's a match, don't waste time chatting. Meet at one of our trusted locations. So they
Hell
set
no.
everything up for you. It's like they're like your blind date setup. I don't know. Like but I
No.
don't even know if that's like
Don't
something I
like it.
would be interested in. Like skip the chat and go straight to the date instead. Like, don't you want to chat a little bit before you're gonna date them or
Absolutely. I
like
want
meet
to
up with
know.
them?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
designed for intentional dating.
Yeah,
We're
no,
real
thank you.
intentional about dating.
Yes. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. 2.9. That's the rating on Google Play Store. So I don't know. I think they have some work to do.
Absolutely. It sounds like it.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So as far as the MILF mindset, confidence, sex appeal, owning your power, what do you think makes someone exude MILF energy, like beyond physical appearance, right?
I think it's the confidence. It's the being unapologetic. It is the being in love with yourself. Especially in the age of, again, we're in the age of social media where everyone is trying to
Keep up with the
really
Joneses.
appease, yeah, and appease somebody else's eye. But like at the end of the day, like this is me.
Just own who
And
you are, right? Like
yes,
be
yes,
unapologetic about it. Love yourself. Like,
yes,
yeah, I
yes.
I stopped loving myself for like 8 years and
Mm,
it showed. Like I literally looked in the mirror one day and I was just like, I don't even recognize myself. And then
mm-hmm.
like I started dressing up again, did makeup, just I don't know, like there was just this switch and like all of a sudden I felt sexy again. I felt confident. I felt like I felt good in my own skin when I like didn't, I didn't have that for a long time.
What made me start on my journey, in all honesty, was because before I had gone through my separation, I was also a stepmom. So before I even had my own child, I was a stepmom of three. And I was a stepmom of three starting at age 20. I had gotten married at 20. And again, like, so I went full force into being a mother. I didn't really like dress up too much. There were some days where like I put makeup on and everything like that, but like I was really like just focused on making sure that my husband was good and making sure that my stepchildren were good. And then becoming a mother on my own, same thing. I was making sure that my child was good. When I got separated, I was finally like, holy crap, who am I? And it was just something as small as wearing a crop top. And I remember I was at a school and there was a gentleman that was interested in me, and he was like, "You just had a baby?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was like, "My son is a year and a half years old." And he was like, "You don't look like it." And I took a picture and I put my hair in a ponytail, even something as simple as putting my hair in a ponytail. And I wore a crop top and I put on, some jeans that made me feel good. And I was
Yeah.
like, I look good and I feel good too. Like, I'm still a woman and I'm still a badass
Yeah.
woman. Like, and I don't have to do too much. It's just the crop top, and the jeans and the shoes, and it's okay. And that's what made me feel good, and that's what really like propelled me into that, and even redefining my style even.
Yeah. It evolves, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Everything
Mhm.
just evolves over time, like who you
Mhm.
are, all those things.
Mhm.
I I knew I was gonna keep having kids, so like after my first, like I went back to the gym. Okay, so you seen me before, like I had my daughter,
Mhm.
and I was like
Mhm.
super into working out. Like I was always at the gym. I was very fit. I was, training to do like a fitness competition. That was my thing. Like I worked out a lot. And so after I had my first daughter, like people didn't even know I was pregnant until I was like 7 months. They're like, "Oh, you're
Mhm.
pregnant?" Like they're like, "I didn't even know." And I'm like, because I was just tiny, right?
Mhm.
But like I think for me, like after having my first baby, like it was really hard for me because like the weight didn't just come off. Like weight did come off. Like don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but like not in the way that like I thought. And I had never
Yeah.
been I never weighed that much before. I never like I already was like just really self-conscious about my body, and it didn't
Mhm.
matter like how much my husband told me like you're beautiful, or like and it was like it's not you, it's me, like
Mhm.
it's just I'm in my own head, because I'm just not used to being like that. But and then I knew I was gonna have more kids, so I did go back to the gym, but I wasn't like, in a hurry to get like perfect and then,
Mhm.
back to where I was when I'm just gonna have another kid again. Like I was like, okay,
Mhm.
like what's the point?
Mhm.
Doing, wasting all this energy, like so, I got back down, but I never got like past the last 20 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which 20 pounds doesn't really seem like a lot, but like I'm 5'1", so
Mhm.
for me it was a lot because I had never been like that before.
Yeah.
And then I had my second daughter, and I was like, my ass got so big.
Girl, that's
I
not a bad
I
thing.
was like, what happened to my ass? Like, it was
That
just
is not a bad
ginormous.
thing.
Like, it was crazy. I couldn't even believe it. And then
Mhm.
after her, like, I got back down again, and then it was like kind of the same thing, like the last 20, 25 pounds. Like, I just couldn't really. And I wasn't really like, I didn't know if I was going to have another baby yet, but I really wanted a
Mhm.
boy. So, I ended up trying for the third one. And it's crazy. My third one, literally, I weighed 180 pounds right before I had her. I'm 5'1",
Wow.
but nobody believed me. I was all belly, and they're like, you don't weigh 180 pounds. There's no way."
Mm.
And I'm like, I weigh 180 pounds. They're
Mm.
like, you don't even look like it. And I'm like, well, scale. And it was just crazy. But, and then she was born, and the cord was wrapped around her neck twice. So,
Wow.
yeah, so she had a neck injury, and um, like at first she would take bottles, but then like it just stopped. And so she would only nurse, like
Wow.
only nurse. And then like when she started, it was time to like give solid food, she would like choke. So it was like
Wow.
really scary. And then, my husband deployed, so like I was like not really taking the risk. I lived like up in the mountains, kind of far from like an actually like really good hospital. And so I was like, I'm not gonna try to feed her and then she chokes and I'm like alone, and like that, I got two other toddlers, like that's
Yeah.
crazy. So she was nursing like a newborn till she was 8 months old. And
Wow.
literally, I lost 65 pounds. Like the weight just dropped off. Like it was crazy. But I had to have acupuncture done on her. She had one treatment of acupuncture actually, and she started eating solid food, and that was at 8 months. And I was like,
Wow.
And my husband was actually upset with me that I did that, but I'm like, you're across the world, and like
Hmm.
I'd much rather do like a holistic thing than go have them shove a scope down my baby's throat,
Yeah.
do all those things. Like, to me, that's so invasive. Like, when I could try something holistic first, I'm like,
Hmm.
you're not the one that's here feeding her every 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And you're not the one that is trying to take care of two other toddlers. You're not the one that has to make sure that you're eating enough. Like, I'm
Yeah.
watching my daughter, she was hungry.
Hmm.
She wasn't getting it. Like, I couldn't do 3 hearty meals a day. Like,
Hmm.
literally, she just, like, the weight dropped off of me. So,
Hmm.
I was like, I had to make an executive decision, and that was my decision. But it worked.
Yes.
She didn't have to go multiple times. Like, literally, she sat on my lap, and the acupuncturist, like, she didn't even flinch. She didn't move. She didn't feel it. She didn't, nothing.
That's
And then she
awesome.
started eating. But it was like, all of that was so stressful, right? Like, those are like the same kinds of things, like, dealing with your special needs and stuff like that. Like, those things weigh on you because it's like you feel like a failure. Like, I felt like a failure. I
Yeah.
was like, my daughter, I had all this milk. Like, I wanted to like donate all my milk. I had a freezer full of milk, and she wouldn't take a bottle. I tried bottles. I tried so many different nipples. I got stuff from like New Zealand. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. Like,
You
finally,
were trying everything
I
just like a
tried
real mom does. You
everything.
do what you need to do for your
Like,
child.
I had to have tried like 20 different bottles. I'm not even kidding.
Hmm.
Because not only that, but that meant I didn't get a break. So, like, my mom couldn't take the baby for a night and give me a break.
Ooh,
So for eight
relate to
months,
that.
I literally, and even after that, because she still wasn't, able to really be away from me for too long, because she's still nursed, but she was taking solid food, so it was like a little bit more, like I could leave her for like a few more hours.
Hmm.
But it's crazy.
That's super relatable.
But yeah, getting back to that, like that feeling of feeling confident and nice, like I
Hmm.
remember getting there, right? And it was like a game changer for me. Like, I finally felt like I was back in my own skin. I don't know.
Yeah. So, when I had my son, I was in California. Most of my family is on the East Coast.
Mhm.
And then shortly after me having my son, and getting off of maternity leave, um, I was told that, I had to take orders to Okinawa. Took orders to Okinawa, and same thing, I was pretty much by myself. So a lot of the things that I figured out and trying to learn not only about myself but about my son as well, it was like by trial and error, and again just figuring it out. So definitely understand that, and feeling alone in the process,
Yeah.
because I mean that is definitely real.
Yeah, definitely. It's like nobody really realizes because even though you're married and all of that, like for me, even when my husband got out of the military, like it was supposed to be better. We came to New York, like, there was all these promises, but then it just went from he was working, it was up at 5 o'clock in the morning and off to work and not coming home till like sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night
Mm,
because he worked in the city and we live on Long Island. So,
mm,
like, I literally was like, I'm a single married mom.
mm,
Like, that's all I did with kids. I didn't leave the house. Like, we didn't really have money because it's expensive to live here. Like, it would, and he was always working so that we could have money, but that was like literally just
mhm,
to survive. And it was hard. And I was like, what's the point in this? Like, I could just do this on my own and be happy.
mhm.
But that's when I started like going through
Yep.
healing and regaining, or going through my journey of just finding my identity again. And we decided to be amicable and give our kids a different life than what we both had, because we both came from broken homes, and we want, like, we're friends, like we want our kids to know that, like, we're still friends and we can still do things as a family. Like, our kids have like family connect night, and even though we're not together, we'll go out to the restaurant, all of us, and we all just go and do family connect night.
Mhm.
So there's some sort of normalcy for them. But I mean, there's still times where it's difficult. Like, I'm still like, okay, well. I'm not married to you anymore. You're making me mad, you know. But at the same time, um, it's just finding yourself and rediscovering yourself is so, so important. And just getting to that place of healing is so
Yeah.
important because it changes everything. And even for your kids, like they see everything. We don't really think about it or realize, but they literally see so much more than we know, you know, or that
Yeah.
we're aware
And
of
and they're
or think
smarter
of.
than we give them credit
My
for as
gosh.
well.
My
Yeah.
3-year-old, almost 4-year-old, she's incredibly smart. The other day, she was like, she was taking a nap and I had to go pick up the other two from school and she's like, I don't want to go. Like she looked at me and she's like, I don't want to go. And she went back to sleep. I was like, okay, no problem. Like I just let her aunt know that like she was napping and just to keep an ear for her. And so I was walking out and she goes, be safe. Like, how old are you, girl? Like, are you the mom or I'm the mom? Like, she told me to be safe. She's not even 4 yet. I'm like,
Hmm.
she was like half asleep. Be safe.
That is so
It was
sweet.
really cute though.
I think that our children know, and I think that's also why having them in a good environment, for one, yes, having them in a good environment, having a mom that is like not trying to mask and like really putting her best foot forward, or having parents that are putting their best foot forward every day, they feed off of that energy
They do.
and they literally mock everything that we do. So I think it's very important to show your children every single day, even when the days are hard, like, hey, I'm not giving up. Hey, I'm still chasing my dreams. Hey, I'm still trying for you. Hey, I'm still trying to read you a book even though you're not cooperating.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to potty train you, even though you'd rather piss on yourself. Like whatever the thing is, you're showing them that you're giving your all every single day because your kids literally feed off of that energy,
they
and
do.
then your kids literally mock every single thing that you do.
Yeah.
So in terms of like, for example, you talked about broken homes, there's so many studies that literally show that children that come from broken homes, when that behavior is modeled and the parents literally are pitted against each other and they hate each other,
Hmm.
they end up doing the same thing, and they end up having broken homes and hating their spouse, or there's children that seen their parents go through domestic abuse or domestic violence, and then they end up taking that behavior and doing those things. So the fact that you even said like, hey, we do family connect night and we can have an amicable relationship, and hey, I don't hate you, you don't hate me. You get on my nerves sometimes, but at the end of the day, our children were made from love. They see that and they're like, cool. Like it's cool to we agree to disagree and we move on.
Yeah.
Like there is no hardship or anything that needs to be experienced with that. So I think that's very, very important that we show our children every single day. Yes, things don't work out, but like I'm still showing up for me and I'm showing up for you too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
teaching
awesome.
them that it's still okay. And that was the other thing, you know, I was raising girls. So I'm like, you know, there comes a point where they started noticing like I wasn't happy, you know.
Hmm.
So do you just stay to do the right thing? That's not teaching them the right thing either, you know.
Yes.
I need to set an example and I need them to know like even you know like when I've been upset like I don't hide crying from them like I let them see me cry because
Hmm.
you know even though they might not really understand they still have to know how to process those emotions and
Hmm.
that's our job to teach them that you know like I could coddle them and like keep it in the dark or hide it or whatever but I'm really doing them a disservice you know because
Yeah.
I'm not doing the right thing. And that's the same thing with I was in an unhappy marriage. I also was doing a disservice to daughters that I'm an example for. Like, I wasn't doing the right thing by staying somewhere where I was unhappy just because I was
Yeah.
doing it for my kids. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, like, they could see how unhappy I was. And that doesn't, you know, that doesn't help them.
That is honestly the realest thing that I had heard in a very long time, because I definitely feel the same exact way. So what gave me the strength to leave my marriage was, of course, we had issues, but there was also like some verbal abuse, some emotional abuse, things like that that was going on. But what literally gave me the courage to leave was my son, because exactly what you just said. Like, as a stepmother, I was like, I could maybe, hold on, hang on. But when I had my son, I was like, no,
Yeah.
no,
You
no, no,
deserve
no, no, no.
more and better than that.
Yes,
Everybody does.
yes, yes.
And even whenever I first, when I first separated from my husband, he wasn't happy either. And I was like,
Hmm.
you deserve to be happy too. Like it's
Hmm.
not just all about me. It was clear he was unhappy as well. Because we wouldn't be in
Yeah,
that place if we both weren't unhappy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But we just were going through the motions. Like, okay,
Mhm.
this is what we do. We just suck it up and we just do it for our kids. Tell me when did you first realize that you had MILF energy?
Say, again, I think it was that moment when I was going through my separation, and the guy, and I put on my little crop top and the jeans. So that was like my first like ding moment. Um, because I, again, for the most part, was, in a like a baggy t-shirt or like a hoodie. I would get dressed up for like the Marine Corps ball. That was it. But like I was just so focused, and my priorities were on being a wife and being a mother, that same thing, I lost who I was.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, like looking in the mirror, like I am beautiful. Hold on, wait a second. Like, people
Wait,
do
somebody
find me
noticed me?
attractive.
Like,
Yes,
I'm desirable?
yes. And it was like people do find me attractive, and people do want to get to know me, or, even people that want to sleep with me. That's a thing too.
Yeah.
So that
I mean, we want to feel
it,
wanted. We want to feel
yeah,
desirable. That's
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. So
Everybody
that's what,
wants to feel that?
yes. So that was like the first like turn of events for me. And then I slowly just started going down that path. And in all honesty, another person that kind of like brought out that MILF energy was my ex-husband's ex-wife. So she is the mother of the three stepchildren that I had. And again, I saw how she was reclaiming her situation in her life. She recently just turned 40, but I
Into
was
the
seeing
club.
how yeah, and I was seeing how she reclaimed her life, and she was riding on motorcycles and buying trucks and traveling. And I was like, I want to do everything that you're doing. How are you doing that? Um, so and she just taught me, and she was like, look, girl, like you fall, get back up. And also she was a support system for my son as well. So
It's amazing.
she also, yeah, she forced me to also like kind of find my light. And then, like I said, the other women that had been through, a divorce or two, that was just like, girl, if you don't put on a tight dress and just step outside and see that sunlight, and just continue to do what you want to do, or whatever, fulfill the purpose that you have, like, go do those things. Like, life is too short to be sitting in a corner crying
Yeah.
over your situation, or over a man, or over like your bills. Like, get up, find a way, and get after it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's
definitely.
what I did.
I love that. Just finding your power. So
Hmm.
important. How do you channel confidence in relationships and dating and, like everyday life?
Confidence in dating. So, in dating first, because I would like to separate the two. There's been, especially too in this era of like social media, at least over the last year that I've seen, it's been this whole thing of like, what do you bring to the table? And, a woman must be submissive and the man must be dominant, and all these things. So, and
Stereotypes.
yes. So, in terms of like finding my own confidence, again, it's being myself, but also, and it's not like a cocky or arrogant thing at all. I know that there is nobody like me And it's understanding that no one is like me in terms of my humor. No one is like me in terms of the way that I like to dance. No one is like me in the terms of, the way that I like to cook. So it's again tapping into what makes me special
Yeah. Being
and
uniquely you.
embracing that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
stepping into that. Like there is no one thing. I might be similar to another woman, but
Sure.
what makes me special is what makes me special, and that is my light, and I embrace that.
And we all
So
have our
that is,
unique power for sure.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I have learned to again just embrace that and be who I am.
Good.
Um,
Smash those stereotypes, girl.
yes. And in everyday life, it's the same thing. I'm in a male dominated industry, which is the military. And every single day, it is, you know, uh, pretty much 90% male making the decisions, being the shot callers. So it is having the confidence to say, no, like, hey, I think you're wrong. And this is why you're wrong. Coming up with the studying or the facts, the education to back up what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not just throwing a fit. I'm not just knocking over tables. I'm not just like, hey, look at me, look at my breasts, look at my no, I am showing you that I'm a valuable asset, and I'm showing you that I'm a member on the team.
Yeah.
So I think that is another thing that, how I show up every single day. I don't want to rely on my looks or my sexuality to get me across the line. I'm confident in what I do because I know that I'm an intelligent woman. I'm a bright woman. I know that I'm a goal oriented woman, and I know that I'm a resilient woman, and I know that I get shit done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's how I show up every single day.
That's
And
amazing.
I show up every single day, and I make sure, again, like just because again I have, two breasts and a vagina, that doesn't stop me from my mind. Like the intelligence that I have.
Yeah.
So that's what honestly gives me confidence. And not to mention, like, again, my son every single day, like I go out and I know that, like, every day is like do or die for me because I know that I have to provide for him. Like I can't fail. And while that might, again, like I said, I've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. While that might heighten my anxiety, I still make sure that every day I show up, I leave it all on the table, no matter what I do. If I got 90% today, like you're gonna get the full 90% because that's all I have today, but I'm gonna put it all out on the table.
Yeah.
Um, my son definitely gives me a lot of confidence as well.
It's good. It's really good. I love that. How old is he
Yeah.
now?
He is 7.
Oh my God.
7, yes, he is 7 years old. And again, let me pause right there. So with my son, we talk about being a MILF and having the confidence and breaking the stereotype and things like that. We never talk about or give credit to our children for making us face our fears or making us do the things that we thought that we would never do. So for me as a child, something as basic as swimming, like I can swim enough for me to have fun and, to pass my military tests,
Yeah.
but my son is a fish in the water with special needs children, specifically talking about autism. There's this thing called eloping, which is they get so fixated on something and they pretty much take off and they run for it.
Yeah.
So my son would do that. And I remember one time he took off running. He was with his father. He took off running and he ran down the street, around the corner, and he ran to a pond because he likes the water so much. So I was freaked out. I was at a school during the time. I was freaked out and everything like that. But I also made the decision that I will put my son in swim lessons. And my son is just swimming and he's learning and I'm letting him tap into what he likes and figure out what he likes. I don't want to tell him what he
Yeah.
should do. I'm letting him embrace who he is.
It's so important too.
Yes, but also as a child, I drowned a hell of a lot. But my son in yesterday's swim lesson, he swam in 9 feet and they said, Mom, you're going to get in the water with him. And I was like, I don't know about this. But I changed into, my little active wear and I got in the water with him. And they were like, Mom, you need to be sure that you are comfortable in the water because what if something happens to him? What if he just, again, elopes and he wants to jump in the water? You have to feel comfortable enough to do what you need to do to save your son. And I was like, you are right. Even down to my son has sensory issues getting his hair cut and he doesn't always sit for his barber, which is a whole nother thing. But I asked his barber, hey, can you teach me, can you show me how to cut his hair? And my son sat still while I cut his hair. I kind of had interest in cutting hair, but I was just like, oh, whatever. But my son made me lean into it because he felt more comfortable with me cutting his hair.
Yeah,
So
of
I was
course.
like, okay, cool.
He trusts you.
Yes. So every single thing that my son, granted, there's some things that I enjoy doing that, he also enjoys. There's things that I absolutely hate that he enjoys, but he also makes me more brave and makes me more confident because I'm not going to let him be alone in anything that he does.
Yeah,
So that's also awesome.
that's
Something
powerful.
that kids do.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is super powerful. What do you think one piece of advice you'd give to women that are struggling to embrace their power?
Would say, first of all, take take a step back. Take a step back and get to know you and what makes you tick. If that's through therapy, girl, like go to therapy, tap into, that childhood trauma, get better at communicating, do all the things that makes you better first because again, you're no good to your child or you're no good to anybody in this world until you can fix you. So I would say definitely tap into yourself first. And then also I would say beyond that, explore the things that you want to explore. And again, be unapologetic about it,
Yeah,
right? So if that is traveling, oh, travel. There's travel groups. I'm sure you have a friend out there that always has a babysitter. If you're a mom, do you have a friend out there that always has a babysitter, or have a family member that owes you a favor? Whatever the case may be, go travel and go see that there's more to life than just being a mother or just sitting in your town. If there's things that you want to experience, another thing too, sexually, right? Like I don't know if you want to put a banner right here on your podcast, but like coming from the relationships that we've come from, stuff just kind of gets routine. Like it's just kind of like, okay, hey, let me, flip over and
yeah,
then I know that's going to be done and things like that. No, go out there and go figure you out and figure out what you like and
yeah,
get in tune with yourself.
yeah.
If you like
Go ahead, it's
pleasuring your
all good.
partner,
We're
yeah.
unapologetic here.
Yes. So if you like giving head, girl, go give that head. If you like going to a sex club, go to a sex club.
Right?
Whatever the case may
I
be, just
actually I actually went to some sex clubs. And I go to the strip club.
should,
I go to the strip club a lot. Well,
as you
not that much
should.
anymore, but it's just fun. Just like whatever, go
Yes.
hang out.
Yes. But it's really just getting to know who you are and live your life.
Yeah.
Like that is okay. And I think that's the coolest thing too, is just seeing women embrace that. Like you could tell when you look at someone, like if they're really like happy. Like you
Yeah.
said that earlier, like I could tell he wasn't happy. Like I wasn't happy either. You could tell when people are genuinely happy or when they're unhappy. And I think that all starts with self. Like you have to know who you are and what you want.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would
Yeah.
say those are the things right there. Tap into who you are, get out there, go figure out what you like, and then get after it. And it's going to make you a much better partner if you're still in a relationship, or it's going to make you a much better parent because you are truly then stepping into your happiness.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's hard to show up for your kids when
If
you're
you're not showing up for
unhappy.
yourself, yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's one of the things that I think that happens too a lot is, you lose your identity, get so wrapped up in like just always being the caregiver, taking care of your kids, whatever it is,
Hmm.
and like you aren't really showing up for them because you're
Hmm.
not 100%. You know what I mean? You got to love yourself. You got to be 100% too. And you
Yep.
can't really be 100% for them if you're not 100% for yourself,
Yep.
you know?
That's it.
Yeah, I agree. How has the MILF mindset helped you in your career or business?
The MILF mindset has helped me to just honestly go for it. There's been times, again, where I've had doubt, but like, I'm gonna try it and I'm gonna do it in
If you
terms
fail,
of
you just get
my,
back up and try again, right? Like you'll never
yeah,
know unless you try it.
absolutely. So that's what it's really been, honestly, is the confidence that I developed in being a mother and also finding myself has made me feel more comfortable about stepping into different areas or different spaces at work or being an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, I am in a very, the word is slipping me. It's a sector where uh, a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah. We all got like a little side hustle or like something that
Yeah,
we're doing.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you
Yes,
almost have to these days, unfortunately,
yes.
but it's
So,
also it gives you drive and like, like for me, like this podcast is like another thing that I'm doing, it's just like
hmm
a project, it's something that I can be passionate about, I can do. So yeah, I get that. Like that makes sense a lot.
and then you have to be confident in that, right? Because like you said, it's a podcast, but it's like other people have podcasts. Other people have had companies. And what makes you so special? And it's like, what makes me special is the values that I bring to the table, what I'm talking about, like the fact that I am relatable. So the MILF mindset has given me the confidence to go out there and again, although it might be in an area or a sector where there might be plenty of other people doing it, I'm also special and I am in this space and I am claiming my space.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The
Didn't
people
you
that are for me
didn't
are
you
for
learn
me.
how to knit or something? And that's like where it started.
Yes. So,
My
yes.
na-
So,
my nana
I,
taught me how to knit when I was like 8.
yes. So, I've been, same thing. I've been crocheting since I was about
It's
seven,
crocheting.
8 years. Yes,
My
ma'am.
bad.
So, I've been crocheting or, yes, since I was
Crocheting and
about
knitting is
seven or,
different, just so everybody
yeah,
knows. But yeah,
I've been crocheting since I
crocheting's
was about 7 or
hard.
8 years old. Yeah.
It's
And,
harder.
and it's always been that thing where like no matter how I strayed or whatever, I've always gone back to it because same thing my grandmother taught me.
Yeah, it's like an
Um,
outlet, right? Like it's
yes,
something that you can do that's like for you.
yes. So over the time, like I would crochet and then I would put it down. I would crochet and I would put it down, and people would say, you're so talented. I can't believe you made that and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, this, like,
I
whatever.
was just messing
And I had
around.
tried, yeah, and I had went on, a journey and I had started selling the things that I was crocheting. But I was like, man, I can't turn this fast enough because people would say, I want these colors, I want it this big, I want this. Customizing things took me a lot of time. And then not to mention again, I'm still, a single mom. I still am in the military and those things take priority. So I was like, you know what? How can I still share with the world, my messages and my talents, but not spend as much time? And I was like, you know what? I wear hats. I like hats. So why not
I
do
like
that?
hats too.
Yeah. So I'm like, why not do that?
And we're
And
definitely
then,
we're definitely gonna like put your website and all your stuff on here so everybody can see it at the
yay,
end.
that's
So don't
awesome.
worry, we will put that up here.
That is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. No, I love that. That's great. What do you think, or why do you think ambition is sexy?
Ambition is sexy because at the end of the day, no one wants. I mean, I hate to put it like this, but this is the first thing that popped in my head. Like, no one wants a loser. I hate to put it like that, but like
Yeah,
I
like it's
I
important to have ambition and have goals and have things that
yes.
you're working towards because otherwise you're
Yes.
just blasé, you know?
Yeah. Like you're letting life essentially like you're letting life take you on a journey, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bad thing in the way that I'm explaining it. You're along for the ride instead of grabbing life by the reins and saying this is what I want to do. Yeah, and taking control of it.
Yeah.
So, I think ambition is very sexy because of that. Whether you're a man or a woman, like, again, you're getting after the things that you want to do. We talked about it. You're going to that strip club because that's what you want to do. You're opening that business because that's what you want to do. You're adopting children because that's what you want to do. You're making a positive impact on this world because that's what you want to do. So you are essentially claiming your space, like you're making space for you in this life. You're not laying down and taking it.
Yeah.
And like that's the total opposite of an ambition. And like anyone that's doing that, I hope you stop and I hope you get up, and by the sound of my voice, you get up, you rise up, and you start living for you and your child or
Yeah.
your children.
Yeah. Like on a side note, like the whole like, I used to just always do for people or what I thought that they wanted me to do or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. But like, I was curious. Like, I want to go to a sex club. I want to see what it's like, what it's about. Like, I want to experience that. Like, even if I don't do anything, I just wanted to see. I was just curious.
Yeah.
But I would like before I was just always worried about like what people thought or like, oh, what are people gonna think about me? But like I don't have to tell anybody. I mean, I'm telling them now, but
Yeah.
like I don't care,
Yeah.
And yeah, I like to go to the strip club. I like to, just go hang out.
Yeah.
It's fun every now and then. It's just something
Yeah.
different. There's nothing wrong with doing something that, that you enjoy or you like. Like,
Yes.
but it's so hard because like society gives like this whole like stigma or they're so judgmental, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't judge people. Like I'm never going to judge anybody for doing what they want to do.
What they want to do. Yeah.
Like live your life, embrace it.
And that's how too, like, not to mention again, even discussing social media. I really think that for one, you should do an episode on social media, and you should definitely do an episode on online dating.
Yeah,
But
no, it's gonna happen for sure.
yeah, but the stigma and people being so judgmental, you see that in the way that people present themselves. You can tell the same way, again, going back to you said, like, I could tell that I wasn't happy, I could tell that he wasn't happy. Those are things too. Just because it's in a picture, boo, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that people can't see you and people can't see that you're trying to portray something that you're not. At the end of the day, like, again, this is who I am. Whether you're sensitive, what people may call sensitive, that's okay. Like, your tribe is out there. Again, you're being authentically you
Yeah.
and you're being who you are
I
and
think
you're
that's the
being
most important thing
expressive.
too. Like be authentic. Like just be
Yeah.
who you are. Don't It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or cares or whatever. And for me for a long time like that was the thing that like held me back because I was
Hmm.
always like doing for everyone else. Like I was
Yep.
living my life for everyone else. And then it
Yep.
was like, okay, no. I'm going to live my
Yep.
life for me.
Yep.
I lost some friends along the way. Like I had a friend, I don't even know, we went one of her friends' restaurants or something and we were talking about the person was talking about it too and I was relating. But like I guess she got really embarrassed because I went like I said that I went to a strip club and like whatever.
Girl.
And like she was just being like really judgmental and pretentious and like she went off on me and was like you're not a good mom, you leave your kids to go out, and I'm like my kids are with their dad.
Hmm.
It's his time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm going to go do for me because you know what? Like I didn't do that for a long time and I
Yeah.
deserve that time to myself. He gets it. Like
Absolutely.
I get it too, you know. But yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I lost friends along the way because I was like, I'm not gonna change or pretend I'm not who I am, like just because
Mm-hmm.
you're embarrassed by it. Like I'm not trying to
Yep.
embarrass you. That's on you that you're embarrassed.
Yep.
Like your friend was talking about it too. Like I was just relating. Like
Mm-hmm.
sorry you can't relate, but like don't make it like I'm a bad person
Yeah.
because I'm being me. Like I'm
Yeah.
authentic. I'm gonna be me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but you know, that's just one of those things. That's also part of like healing and growing. Like those people, those kinds of people, they don't need to be in your
Yes.
life. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you don't need someone like they have bad energy. They're just bringing you
Yep.
down. Like if they were a genuine person and they were your friend, like that stuff wouldn't matter.
Yep.
Like even if they were opposed to it, like they're still not gonna judge you. Like you're their friend and they like you because they like you, not
Yes.
because you do something that they don't like. Like,
Yes.
okay, so you don't come, you don't do it. Like what like,
Yep.
whatever. Nobody's mad
Yep.
at you, you know. It's just it's crazy. And you know, same thing with the whole social media stuff. Like it's rough because so many people portray a life like we're just in that day and age where people like try to portray this life where it's not real, you know?
Yes.
And so people see it and they're like, oh, they think it's like, oh, they got everything. They got, you know, they're perfect, like
Yes.
whatever. But no, you just see what they want you to see. You know
Yes.
what I
Their
mean?
highlight
Like
reels. Yes.
you don't see all of it. You don't see, and I bet you 100% it's not all rainbows
That is
and
cracked up to be.
it's not
Yes.
all rainbows and cupcakes or, you know, like all that.
Yes. That is facts.
What is your top beauty self-care tip for maintaining confidence and, you know, just feeling good at your age? Not that you're old because you're not.
So even though my lashes are falling off, a number one thing that makes me feel or gives me that extra dose of MILF energy is definitely having my lashes done. I am a lash girly. I found my lash tech maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, if that. And I swear by her, she could take all my money, everything. I just don't feel bad about it. But also too, something as simple, honestly, as like getting a wax.
Mm-hmm.
Like that makes me feel good. It gives me again that extra boost
I
of
know
confidence.
you really can't do it because you're in the military. I mean, you can, but there's like, you can only do certain things. But like for me, it's getting my nails done. Like, extremely
Yeah,
mani-pedi, like always just having my nails done. And people
yeah.
like know me for that. Like, they know me on my social media because I was like, oh, I got my nails done. They'll see my new design or whatever.
Yes. And that's a really hard thing, like you said, because I'm a girl, like once I get my nails done, I love long nails. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, well, don't you think your nails are getting a little long? And I'm like, oh, but it's okay though. But yeah, so definitely nails, definitely getting a wax, definitely getting my lashes done. Also, too, something as simple as, and I got to get back on it, like
Yeah,
getting a facial, getting a massage, like literally
massage for
just,
sure.
yes, just kind of like taking all of that tenseness out of your body
Yeah,
feels damn good.
yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, you need it. You need those things for
Hmm.
sure. What are your go-to wellness rituals or practices?
Go to wellness practices. Definitely, I am a gym girly through and through.
It's such a good outlet too. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So I was gonna say that it is definitely a great outlet.
For mental health as
Just
well.
yes,
Yeah.
for to making time for you and really getting into the gym and talking to yourself like the baddie that you are. So even when I'm in the gym, and there's a mirror there, I'm like, dang, I do look good. Like it's that positive self talk
Yeah.
or turning on the music that kind of gets you,
Like just gets you hyped
yeah,
up, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Zone.
yeah, and that's it. Like, so
I
definitely
love music. Music is like life for me. Like it's so
Mm-hmm.
relatable, it's nostalgic, like just everything, and like even though like in the gym you have your certain playlist or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
music really, really gets like it moves me like every
Yes.
way. Like it doesn't matter if I'm in the car, if I'm getting ready, if I'm cleaning, like I don't like I'm
Yep.
always playing music. I don't really watch TV. I read and I play music. That's it.
Yep. Absolutely.
What's the wildest thing that you've done that screams MILF energy?
My God. Like I stewed over this question. Honestly, I would probably say, honestly, yeah, opening up a business.
That's good.
Yeah, I would say opening up a business, it is one of the things that, again, people talk about.
It's scary. It's
And
hard. It's the
yes,
unknown, which is the scary part that like people are afraid to take that step.
yes. And then too, like, again, in the day and age of social media, people make it seem like it's so easy, but like, it is very difficult. And then too, what I would recommend is, just being yourself. Again, you have to know who you are to be yourself in your business. Like people gravitate to you and they stay around because of you and the values that you have in your business. So I think that is also very, very important.
It took me a long, like I've been talking about starting this podcast probably for, let's see, we're in February, like 4 or 5 months.
Mhm.
Like I have YouTubers that I watch, and like there's one that does tarot readings, and she's like, she says it a lot. She's like, everybody starts somewhere. Like I'm still
Mhm.
learning. Like it was the learning curve for me. Like you just got to do it. And she's so encouraging, and I love that about her. And like I said before, like in one of my other episodes, that like actually I think it was in my healing journey. I said that I was watching her and she literally was like, she was talking about Aquarius. She was doing tarot reading for an Aquarius. Ooh, Aquarius. Yeah, and so she's like, "You're meant to speak. Like you're meant to have a platform." And I was like, is she talking to me? Because like I had been talking about doing this podcast, and then like next thing you know, like maybe like an episode or two after that, like she did another reading, and she was like, "You're meant to have a podcast," and I was like, "Whoa, like what?" Like it was crazy. And I had a friend, because I have a friend that like I send the readings to, and like we'll talk about them because they're very spiritual too. And in the first one, they were like, "She said podcast," and I was like, "No, she didn't." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, she did," and I was like, "No, she didn't." And then like they actually went and found like the timestamp and sent it to me, and they were like, "You're right, she didn't." And then like 2 weeks later, she did another reading, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I
She
like
said
sent it. I was like, "She
podcast.
said," I was like, "She actually said it this time." And I was like, like I was really nervous. I was really scared, but I was like, you know what? Everybody starts somewhere. Like I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna hit record
Hmm.
and start this journey. And I'm so excited and so glad that I did, because I just feel like there were so many things, so many signs like pointing to it being like the right thing to do, and I'm passionate about it. And I love lifting other women up, and I love, recognizing women that you can just tell like they've been through things, but it hasn't stopped them. If anything, it's really made
Hmm.
them grow and just be resilient and ambitious and desirable and beautiful and sexy and
Hmm.
all those things. And like I just want, like I want to support women, and I want them to see that like even the ones, like doesn't matter where you are in your journey, like I want those ones to see that like we're here for them, and it's okay, and you'll get through it, and you can love yourself again, and you will love
Hmm.
yourself again. And
Hmm.
you'll get into that ambition, and you'll get there. Like we're
Yeah.
all on a journey, and it just takes time. Like we're not all gonna go at the same speed, but like it's doable.
Yes, ma'am. It sure is.
Yeah. Are there any taboos about aging or sex or relationships that you want to break down? I mean, you mentioned a couple. You're like, own it. Like, if
Yeah.
this is what you like to do, then you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like to do it.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you are curious in anything in life, just do it. Do it. The only way to know if you don't like something, if you have a curiosity about it, is to do it. To do it, go for it and be unapologetic about it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What about music? What's your MILF approved playlist? A couple songs.
Yes, so definitely, I know I mentioned it earlier, but Beyonce, Run the World. I love working out to that song too. There's a part in there when she basically talks about like, hey, don't you love it how we like bear the children, then we get back to business. And I'm like,
Right?
she was talking about me. um,
I love that
definitely,
too. I love that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely Beyonce, Run the World is like top of my daggone MILF playlist.
I love that. That's great. And I mean, it depicts it in the lyrics, like for sure. That's
Hmm.
awesome. What about books? I read a lot, and I'll probably talk about a lot of books that I read, like self-help and stuff, throughout my podcast. I'm gonna call it like the MILF Book Club. Is there any books that's inspired your confidence or your success and mindset?
And I can't stand it because I always see the cover, but I forget the daggone name of the book. Viola Davis recently came out with a book. Well, I won't say recently, but it's about a year or two. But her book, and again, the name is slipping me, but the book is a memoir, and it pretty much talks about her, again, her life and her journey, and I believe in her story. Um, I'm not sure. I can't remember if she adopted or not, but it talked about her journey being a dark-skinned Black woman breaking into the entertainment industry, and how there were pay differences, not only for women
Yeah.
versus men, but also being a dark-skinned woman versus light-skinned women. So that definitely was super inspirational. And again, seeing that someone had made it, and even though too, like, she's a lot of the times where she talked about her story, she was quote unquote older, right? So again, one of the things that gave me inspiration is like you talked about, like, hey, like I had my first child when I was 32, 33. The, my ex-husband's ex-wife who recently, got remarried, and she's just living her life and doing her thing. Viola Davis becoming an actress later on in life. Like, stop putting ourselves on this time limit. And when it is your time, it is your time. So definitely her book has given me a lot of inspiration. I just can't believe that I'm forgetting the daggone title of it.
Finding Me.
Finding Me. Thank you.
Got you, girl. Got you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to check it out because that sounds really, I really like that. And Finding Me because like the title says it all because
Hmm.
like I feel like I can relate to that a lot.
Hmm.
I read a lot of books like that too. Not necessarily like MILF books, but just like personal development and things like that. And I get a lot of knowledge and clarity from reading about other people's experiences
Hmm.
and just knowing that like we're all on a journey. Like we all go through it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when you don't put yourself into reading or like seeing other people and you don't think about it, like you think you're just alone, but you're
Hmm.
not. Like there's so many people that you could relate to, whether they're men or women, but they're
Hmm.
inspirational. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it just really helps you get into that mindset of healing and growth. And I think that's important for everybody. Do you have any upcoming projects, businesses you like to promote?
Yes. So I have my company. So I have a hat company. And again, I found the word because I know it's been a while. So the word is like saturated. It's a saturated industry. But I have a hat company. It is called J&T Creations. And again, I took that name. You mentioned it earlier. I took that name from me crocheting and me creating blankets and scarves and fingerless gloves and things like that. And I was like, you know what? Let me apply that to, my hats because it's still a creation of mine. Um, and the JNT takes from my initials, my son's initials as well. But yeah, my hat company focuses on faith, encouraging conversations about generational wealth and overall just like positivity and positive affirmations.
Love that.
So I love how, thank you. So I love how we talked about like authenticity. I literally have a hat that says authentic.
I'm gonna have to get one.
And again, yes. So, and
I'll have
it's
to
just
rock it on
that,
the
like,
show.
yes. And it's because at the end of the day, like, I want people to have those conversations and be completely honest about who they are,
Yeah.
and there's no reason to hide that. So every hat that I have literally should be the start of a conversation, right? Because everyone has their own interpretation. It's kind of like music lyrics. You can listen to a song and get a feeling from it. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't necessarily think that. I thought this.
Yeah,
It's the same way
perception
with the
is
hat.
everything, right? Like we
Yes.
all like that's what makes us unique. Our perception is going to be different. Like we perceive things in a
Yes.
different way.
Yes. So my hats are just that. They're the start of a conversation about things that are considered taboo or things that people are too afraid to like dive into. Another thing with my company, I am getting ready to have a partnership with Autism Speaks, which I'm very, very excited
That's
about.
very exciting. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much. So yeah, I am very happy about where I am and what I'm doing, and I'm sticking with it. I love it.
Where can people find you? What's like your socials or your website?
Okay.
I'll also put it in the description as well. So
Yes,
everybody can
ma'am.
find you, but just, rattle off your web page or whatever.
Okay. So on Instagram, I am JNT Creations. Facebook, same name, JNT Creations. So that's J, N is in November, T as in I don't know, Tango. Oh my gosh, I'm in the military, you could tell.
You don't know the phonetic alphabet.
T
What?
is in
I won't tell
Tango.
anybody, don't worry.
Space and then creations with a Z, not an S. So that's on Instagram and Facebook. And then my website is www.jntcreations with a Z.com.
I love it. Tay, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And, like I said, I just have a lot of admiration for you. And you're resilient, you're beautiful, you're sexy, and you got MILF energy.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Till next time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for joining me on Living the MILF Experience. Remember, MILF isn't just a label, it's a mindset. Stay empowered, stay unapologetic, and keep redefining what it means to be you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Until next time, keep living the MILF Experience.